What's cracking, Leah?
Hey, good morning. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I had a couple of false starts today, but
I
you
wasn't
know,
there.
hopefully, hopefully we got it together now.
We might. Well,
Oh
let's
yeah.
get
So what's
into it
cracking? What you got on deck?
then. On deck, I have some follow-ups that on some stories that we've already talked about because I feel like the news cycle erases things that were so important in the moment and then people just forget about it instantaneously.
Yeah, well, the news cycle is going fast right now.
So
I mean,
fast.
like, it's just like stuff is flying right by. Stuff is flying right under the radar. Yeah, they love it when
Yeah.
this happens.
I just feel so sad if I was like one of the people waiting my trial and everybody forgot about me. So I just thought we'd bring back some of the things that were important last week, the week before, just to check in on them. So what we have first and foremost is an update on the ginger situation, because I feel like that is important to some. And let's just check in and see how people are feeling about that.
That's still going on,
It is so much going on. I have so many
huh?
videos on my For You feed that I'm just going to share this one because it also speaks to the algorithm and how it adapts to
Well, oddly enough, I don't have any of that in my feed anymore.
really. But you're not on TikTok either. You're on X, and X is a little
Yeah,
different algorithmically speaking. Yeah.
yeah.
All right.
How wildly different TikTok is for black people than white people. Because I got an interesting vantage point on this. Because I only been on black TikTok for, like a month or something. I was on the white algorithm before that. And I mean, I was screaming trying to get out just into just white noise everywhere. And then now I'm here. I love it here. But guys, did you know who are on different algorithms? They are very different. My For You feed went from like watching motherfuckers dig holes and shit, motherfuckers talking about the Pope. Bitch, you ain't Catholic. Why are we talking about the Pope? Or motherfuckers meat riding Trump. I mean, hard on that Trump tower. I'm over here on Black TikTok.
Meat riding.
I'm learning about essential oils and motherfucking ancestors and spirituality and shit. Y'all, I mean, y'all for real, y'all real into some like zodiac magic type shit, and that's cool. I like that. That's cool. I mean, yo, I ain't know that black people was so big on therapy. Good for y'all. I mean, if you need to talk to somebody, go talk to somebody. Me personally, I'm gonna give it to God in a blunt. But hey, do you? Happy for you. It's weird that we got separate TikToks though, ain't it? Like I mean, both of them kind of entertaining, but like a different kind of entertaining. It's almost like they're separate but equal. You know. I'm just kidding. They ain't equal. It's better over here. Fuck them crackers.
Okay. Separate and equal is hella funny. So he seems happy about it. And like I said, most people that come across my feed are happy about it. So that's my follow-up there.
Yeah, he did seem happy about it.
Yeah. And I like
Well,
that
happy
it
for
like
him.
the information transcends. So obviously he's not just in the black TikTok. So he like what he's sharing about black
The
people
funny thing
was
about is the
positive.
difference between algorithms. There are different algorithms. Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
And
And
he
it's
is
funny that TikTok
apparently he really is on Black TikTok because he's talking about y'all are into spirituality and all that
therapy,
ancestors.
the essential oils, yeah, and but that's I love that he's getting that because he can bring it back to his people and be like, no, they're not all just shooting each other and looting stores like there's other
Right,
stuff going on too. So I like
right.
that about it. So there's that, and then
Well, there's a comedy sketch in there somewhere too.
I'm sure um,
There's a there's a Chappelle Show sketch in there somewhere.
no, we don't even watch Chappelle over here. Kind of. Okay, so for some reason that went away. I'm going to go to this AI update. I wanted to update on the AI consciousness, but also like some of the stuff it's been creating with the people because I find it entertaining and also kind of
I mean, I'm fascinated by it, so.
I want to see you create something. I want to see like when we were doing music, that was fun, right? When we were
I
making
just don't think it creates. I think it combines what it knows into something that's new to you.
right, but you're leading it, you're prompting it. I want
And
to
I
see
guess the
what you
same
come
thing
up
as
with.
creating. I don't know. It's weird for me to think of it as creating. I don't know.
I find it weird too. I don't have like those deep conversations that people have. I want to, but then I don't want to. So the most I've done is give it a book like a PDF and interact with it that way and talk to it about the PDF. So I can reference things that I read and say, hey, what did that character say? Or what did it's usually it's like real life stuff, historical context, I mean references and stuff. And that's cool. And we talk like I guess conversationally, but it's just weird for me. Although I do call it he most of the time instead of it. So, and that's maybe what I'm scared of. Maybe I'm scared of being too human and a lot of people think it's a girlfriend or a boyfriend or a therapist and I just can't go there. You know?
Mm.
Would you get therapy from an AI? I hear it's better than actual therapists.
I know, I know.
I don't know.
Maybe I should talk about my problems.
My thing is that it is biased towards you. So it's like you just don't know if it's being for real, if it's just, stroking your ego or whatever.
Hmm.
Okay, so this is something that somebody posted and said, something tells me this might not be real. It's not real, y'all. Spoiler alert. Something that I guess 50 Cent made or posted about Diddy's freak off matters.
Yeah.
It's a rare condition this day and age to demand a freak off with so much rage. The strangest addiction
With the baby oil.
you'll ever find. Some people say that he's losing his mind. Well, then there must be some magic juice inside this corner
You
door.
see it in front of a burning
It's
car.
all I see.
No, but I thought he said
Man, they're busted on for everything. Days gone by. It's the biggest break of the century.
that's crazy. Executive producer Kanye West. That's funny. Pretty funny and also not funny.
Yeah, AI is out of control, with all that, with all that.
I wonder how long it takes for
That
them to
was funny.
create.
Kid Cudi was standing in front of a burning car.
Yes, and Cassie Ventura with her baby oil and J Lo, all smiles. It's a trip. It's a trip.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
pretty funny. So, okay, so we're gonna start here actually. YouTube is censorship personified. You can post whatever sexual content and innuendo you want, but if you talk about Jesus, our Christ, and saving children, you get taken down.
it's
The
crazy.
cabal is run by Satan. It's proven over and over again.
Yesterday, I made a statement on how YouTube pulled my episode with Jim Caviezel. I took that statement down because I let my emotions get the best of me and I spoke out of pure rage. And I shouldn't have. So here it is. Yesterday, YouTube pulled my episode with Jim Caviezel. We talked about two things on there. We talked about faith in Jesus Christ, and we talked about saving children from sex trafficking and sex exploitation. I put in for a manual review. They still denied it, and they pulled the episode. It will not be on YouTube.
I'm sorry about that.
Apple Podcast and Spotify still support me. You can find the episode there. We will be posting the episode to X or Twitter on Sean Ryan 762 later this week. I just want to say I never thought I would live in a time where talking about faith in Jesus Christ and saving kids from sexual predators is strictly forbidden. It's a very sad day. And if you supported that, you should be ashamed of yourself.
All right. So I have my issues with YouTube.
Right.
This ain't news used to be on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
When I first started, it was on YouTube, and I was actually growing a following a lot faster than I am now.
Right.
It was, I was doing my thing, and they started pulling videos and giving me strikes, and the next thing you know, they pulled my whole channel. So, YouTube, as far as censorship goes, some of it, some of the copyright stuff I kind of understand, but
So it
yeah,
hasn't changed
they've
attention.
got an agenda that they stick to,
That's what I was gonna say, and I
which is
believe that their
why
agenda switches. And so like right now they're allowing a lot more stuff that they weren't than they were in during COVID and 2020 and that whole thing. They're allowing a
well, the
hell of a
whole
lot
the whole
more.
point is I want to be led by my thoughts, by my conscience, by I want to be led by me, by but not an algorithm,
Mm,
which is why I don't really worry about YouTube as much. I don't I mean I look at YouTube as advertisement for everything else.
right. And that's why you put like
So it gets the most sanitized.
it's good for
the
shorts to lead you to shows and good for like the fun stuff if they let it stay. That one's hard too, right?
well, I got a strike for that because apparently people falling into swimming pools is unexplained violence, but
For entertainment purposes only, try it.
so,
So just a thought on what the clip that you just played. I wonder if it's being censored because it's just religious. Like, are they censoring religion? Is it
I
Jesus Christ
wonder
necessarily?
why they're censoring anything.
Agreed.
YouTube used to be wild.
Yeah, I
YouTube used to
mean, they still show wild stuff. Like they show really ghetto ratchet stuff with no
well,
problem
no, I'm not talking
whatsoever.
about ghetto
No,
ratchet
but I'm
stuff.
saying
I'm
that shit should
talking
be censored too. Like that is affecting a whole
it
entire
should be
generation of
censored.
children. I mean, I'm saying if we're going with their censorship thing, I don't think anything should be censored. I think parents should parent their children. But if they're going with like religion is harming people, then why wouldn't guns and drugs and shit be harming people? It's just not consistent, you know?
Yeah,
It's
yeah. I
bias as
mean,
heck.
yeah, I hear you. I hear you.
Yeah.
All right, so check this out.
Okay, go for it. Cat has something on his head.
Angela Stanton King, Mark Lamont Hill gets attacked and maced. Now, this is unusual because I actually haven't seen this clip.
Oh, I didn't know this either.
No, I haven't actually seen it. So normally I've seen them before I show them to you, but
Mm.
you know, we about to
Oh
watch this
man,
together and see what
man.
it do.
Because my family is absolutely connected to Mamiya. And I just wanted to say thank you so much for helping him. However, I know that it's been brought to your attention kind of recently about basically what is going on in regards to the CIA. So what I mean by that is basically, you know about the sexual abuse that encountered.
That you encountered?
Yes, that I had encountered.
No, I've never met you before.
So you don't know about the sexual abuse that encountered?
I want to ask you to take a step back, please.
Yeah, humor.
Okay, I'm sorry, I did not hear the conversation.
I think what she said, and I was gonna ask you because it sounded like she said TCI. Do you know what that is?
No.
Because I just saw something with Instagram taking down TCI posts. I didn't know what that was. They were censoring them, and I believe that's what she just said. She's saying, "Do you know you know all about the sexual abuse I encountered?" And he was like, "No, I don't know you." And that's when he started looking nervous. And then she continued, I don't know verbatim, and then that's when she took out the mace and sprayed his ass.
Okay, so
Don't look
Chad
too
O.
good for him.
Jackson said, I thought bro had a bum leg.
Oh,
That's funny. Um, excuse me, low key Q reposts him. He says, I'm fine, everyone. The video of me being pepper sprayed was from January 2024. Oh, this is not even new. At the time, the attacker believed that I was part of a
no, he's lying. That's not
conspiracy.
what she said, though.
At the
Sorry.
time, the attacker believed that I was part of a conspiracy along with the CIA, Mumia Abu Jamal, and the president to cover up traumatic events from her childhood. Since then, after refusing to press charges, I have worked with her family and community members to enable a restorative process. Through the process, I've learned that she did indeed suffer significant childhood abuse, as well as serious mental health challenges that continue to this day. Instead of criminal prosecution, I've done my best to make sure she receives social and mental health support to help her heal as best as possible.
Can
Yeah. So
I
yeah,
fully
that's
see the
yeah.
comments under that because that's where you'll get some of the
You were charged with conspiracy. Now you're creating a conspiracy to look up Marc Lamont Hill. Was charged with
Oh, talking
conspiracy.
about Angela.
Angela Stan, yeah.
But can I see what she said when she posted it, please?
She said, "I can recognize the signs of a sexual abuse survivor, and I see them here. These are my thoughts on the Marc Lamont Hill situation. What are yours?"
Where are her thoughts, though?
I know, right? Let's get to it.
Yeah. I saw it coming. That's what I'm saying. Get justice. Thank you. I just got to get up. Get up. Walk up. Let's just walk up.
Listen, I had to come in and comment on this video. Now, this is my theory. This is what I see from this attack that happened on Marc Lamont Hill. I'm not a detective. I'm not an investigator. Of course, I don't know this young lady's story, but I'm just telling you what I see in the spirit. And what I see is I see a valid sexual abuse victim. There are several things to point out in this video. The very first thing that we want to point out is the first thing this lady said when it was her chance to speak. She said, your family and my family is connected to Amia, and we thank you so much for helping her. Then she goes on to say, you're aware of the CIA and the sexual abuse, right? Now, I believe her saying the CIA was just something to throw him off so she could get up on him. But when she says, are you aware of it? This is when you can look at him, you see him turn this way and grab his face. This is when it dawned on him who this was. And then he says, what sexual abuse? You? She never said that it was her. All she said was, are you aware of the sexual abuse? He told on himself. He pointed at her and he says, who's the sexual abuse? You. Then she goes on to say, oh, so you don't know anything about it? He says, no, I don't know anything about it. She says, oh, really? Basically, that's when she begins to walk up on him, right? And pepper spray him in the face. Now listen, it all dawns on him in this process. This is happening. Let's talk about what happens after the fact. She's tackled, right, by the security guard. After she's tackled by the security guard, what is the first thing that he hops up and says? The first thing he hops up and says is, I never met this woman. She vandalized and broke in. Lamont, baby, we saw her standing in line waiting to get her chance to answer the question, okay? Then this young lady is hauled off. As she's being hauled off, she is in tears. Not only is she in tears, you can also hear Marc Lamont say that he is not going to call the police. Now hear me out. I saw what she saw too at the beginning when he recognized her and he turned to his whoever's in the cut, and he looked like he didn't want to have that conversation at all. So I don't know. I mean, it looks sus to me.
But I didn't realize it was from last year, though.
Well,
it doesn't matter that it was from last year. Don't get me wrong. It doesn't diminish the importance, but it's not a current event. Is what? Right.
Maybe.
So this would be a topic that I'd have to research and find out, what my opinion on the topic was, because we got her side of the story and we got his side of the story, and right now it's a wash. It's a wash. Yeah, sorry. That's why I usually watch them before I play them.
Still interesting, but yeah, it's not current.
Yeah. So move right along. Here is a full report on Brittany Griner. I have been saying she's a man for about 3 years. Now here is the proof.
She's not the man. You said the man. She's not the man.
I'm not sure if this is necessarily proof, but Brittany Griner is an interesting subject that she keeps coming up.
This down, it obviously assumed that Brittany was male and therefore being topless on the platform was totally fine. It did not constitute.
The panic that Griner is experiencing right now isn't just about facing consequences for her racist comments. It's about the possibility that these medical revelations could expose something much bigger. The doctor's findings suggest that there might be fundamental questions about her eligibility to compete in women's sports that have never been properly addressed or investigated. Here's where it gets really interesting from a medical standpoint. The analysis of that Instagram post showing Griner topless revealed characteristics that multiple doctors found inconsistent with female anatomy. The chest structure, muscle definition, and overall torso development showed patterns that these medical professionals typically associate with male physiology, not female athletes who've undergone any kind of surgical procedures.
Griner, the WNBA's Brittany Griner, is in fact a man. And where a lot of this actually surfaced from, I mean, you guys could probably say like, yo, isn't it obvious? Like her voice, you know, there's a lot of things that you can kind of look towards. However, this video actually resurfaced. It's an Instagram story from, I believe it says 109 weeks ago. I can't see from here, but over 2 years ago, that this video was recorded and it was recently leaked on Twitter. So Kelly, if we can go ahead and play this video, please, and then we'll have a discussion.
Value, Brittany. Let me see something real quick. Britt, thank you. Get the fuck.
Damn. Look at the chat.
The Instagram AI detection system's failure to flag the content as female nudity isn't just a technical glitch. It's evidence that automated systems designed to recognize biological characteristics didn't classify Griner as female. These AI systems are trained on thousands of images and are extremely accurate at identifying biological sex characteristics. The fact that the system allowed the content to remain posted suggests it recognized male anatomy. Medical experts are also pointing to Griner's injury patterns and recovery times as additional evidence supporting their concerns. Her ability to absorb contact, recover from physical stress, and maintain muscle mass follows patterns that sports medicine associates with male athletes rather than female competitors. The difference in bone density, muscle fiber composition, and overall physical resilience creates advantages that no amount of training can overcome. The psychological analysis is equally damaging. Mental health professionals who've studied the footage of Griner's attack on Clark point out behavioral patterns that suggest deep-seated resentment and anger that goes beyond normal competitive intensity. The calculated nature of both the physical assault and the racist verbal attack indicates psychological issues that might stem from identity confusion or internal conflict. But here's what's really sending Griner into panic mode. The medical community is now calling for comprehensive biological testing that would definitively answer questions about her
She doesn't have to comply, though, I bet, right? What do you, I mean, I don't know the legality, but if somebody orders
I
you to
think
get.
that if there's a big enough, if enough people ask for it, she'll have to do something. But
Right.
it's interesting to me that she's not dominating the league,
She's just not he's,
right?
um,
That they're not dominating the league.
just
If
not,
they're,
not too good of a player overall, maybe, for a
I
guy.
don't know. I told you the story that I heard about Brittany Griner,
Yeah,
right?
the mother, yeah.
Yeah, that he had a mom that had psychological issues,
Mhm.
and the mom raised him as a woman.
I just got a flash in my head of this movie from like the 80s that I can't remember what it was, but the last scene was the little girl opening her legs and little penis being shown, like, because the whole movie, the mother had raised the child as a girl, but it was a boy. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I definitely don't know, but I know it. I do think that if this turns out to be true, that it didn't take a medical expert, because we've been saying this. I mean,
I know, yeah. Well, I think it's fairly obvious.
yeah, I mean, the chest, the voice,
Yes.
it's like,
You know what I'm
damn.
saying? Like, I think it's pretty obvious. But I did get fooled by the boxer. I forget what the boxer's name was, but
But there was something there, though. Like,
I don't know if I got fooled necessarily, but I just gave him the benefit of the doubt.
and you have the update on the swimmer, yes? That
Which
Leah
one?
Thompson or whatever her name is.
Leah Thomas.
Thomas,
Well,
there you go.
she's not allowed to compete as a woman anymore. So.
Right, and there's a lawsuit that was won by, I'm sorry, I don't know the athlete's name, the blonde woman that was on Rogan. She won
Riley
the
Gaines?
lawsuit. Say it again?
You want Riley Gaines?
I wouldn't know it if I heard it. I'm sorry, but yeah, so she won a lawsuit recently. I believe it was this week. So that's a win for women's sports, in my opinion.
Yeah, I imagine.
I wish my cat wasn't so spoiled. I wonder how that
Well,
happened.
as you spoil it, as you spoil it right now.
No, she's getting bigger, and so now it's bad. But I love her so.
All right. Well, so want to catch up on the Diddy trial?
Yes, please. You have the latest?
What'd you say?
You have the
Well,
latest?
I don't know how it's the latest that I have. You know what I'm
Okay,
saying?
yeah.
I'm not a trial watcher. I'm not out there watching every day or nothing, but
Well, they
this is
don't
this
televise it, so how can you?
was posted June 12th at
Oh,
3:27
good, yeah.
p.m. So yesterday.
How did he spell freak? Sorry.
Friends like this, who needs enemies? What if I told you Diddy just
Uh,
went full Frank Lucas today? He said, if I'm going down, the whole industry going with it. Y'all remember American Gangster? Hear me out. Today, Diddy was in an uproar, trying to get evidence in and out. They found a secret phone that had all type of evidence that Diddy has been manipulating. And remember, Frank Lucas, an American Gangster, he was a big gangster, then he went and turned on everybody and started snitching. He was looking at 70 years for trafficking, conspiracy, bribery, all kind of like Diddy, but he only ended up getting 15 years. And look who Diddy brought into the fold. Kanye West's wife, Bianca. Now, remember the Jane Doe said a trip about going to Vegas with an unnamed rapper. They're still not naming the name, but I'm gonna tell you who it is. And y'all tell me what y'all think. I got receipts. Now I think it's Kanye, but check this out. Remember, Anton was the sex worker who she saw in Vegas. That's what Diddy and Jane had a big argument. Now this gets deep. Now remember, Jane said, yes, I was flown to Las Vegas for a birthday party and we went to a strip club and I recognized Anton. And after doing some digging, Kanye West's wife Bianca rocks a tiny bikini while celebrating 29th birthday, January 6, 2024. She celebrated her 29th birthday in Las Vegas. Jane even commented about the girlfriend or wife of that rapper and said she is so beautiful. Also said the rapper was an old friend of yours. Yes, old friend. Look how far back. Daphne Joy, this is her Twitter account. Congratulations to Kim K and Kanye West on their New Year's blessing and baby. All the way back in December 31st, 2012. All that along. Also, look at this Instagram story. This is for a few weeks after that January party. She posted on her story with a Kanye West song talking about the rap is something about it's hard to find fine women with big boobs. And at this party, Garrigo said, you expose your boobies to the room at this party. She said, no, it just happened in the moment, but she did do it. Then the rapper said he always had wanted to sleep with her. He just hadn't, so he had to crush her. But it gets even deeper. But before I get to the deep part, check this out. The rapper asked Jane about some other workers they can invite to this freak-off party with that unnamed rapper. And that's when she told him about Brawl. Diddy was hot about this. When he found out, he kept saying, how could you go to another rapper's freak-off? And it's been right in our face the whole time. Kenny Garrigo, Diddy's defense attorney, said, remember that $9,000 that Jane got from Bear to help out from her modeling days? Said, did you do any work for it? The rapper mentioned he was close with Coleman. Yeah. But that name Bear, what is that? A bear? Remember that Instagram story? This is when it was posted, February 22nd, 2024, only a few weeks after this session. And let me tell you about this session. At this session, Anton was having with a woman, probably Bianca, and people were in the room, about 7 or 8. Everybody was just watching. And that's when the rapper, you think you know who, was flirting with Jane. And keep in mind, this is Diddy's defense team that is pressing for names to be revealed. That's why Diddy was going crazy in court today. And his attorney, there was a crazy moment where Diddy and his attorneys want names revealed, and the actual prosecution is keeping the names from being revealed. And after all of this, as I was making this video, I got the final confirmation I need. None other than my boy 50 Cent. He said, Ye and Bianchi reportedly arrived at Diddy's trial this morning, but were denied access. And 50 Cent posted, that's why he's been supporting Diddy, His ass was out in Vegas with that little dirt bag. Wow. Itty bitty Mohawk Diddy was in shambles today. And I, like, what if I told you? Who y'all think it is?
A few things on that. I was looking at because it was my understanding, but I might have
Well,
Hollywood's version that
my
Frank.
first thought actually is something that you said,
Hmm,
that maybe Kanye is trying to confess all this stuff
right,
to get ahead of it.
right. And
I
he's
mean, like he's not
definitely
confess, but he didn't confess any of this stuff.
he
But
didn't.
like,
Well, he's been
but that was
supporting
the first
Diddy
thing
big time
that was
though.
the first thing that popped in my head. Like okay,
Let's
all
just
right.
all say what we did. I was at the freak offs. I was dressed as Hitler or whatever.
What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say that Frank, well, coincidentally or not, Frank Lucas, the example he gave, the gentleman doing the video, Diddy's dad was a friend of his. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So that's interesting. But also it was my understanding that Frank Lucas did snitch, but he was snitching on corrupt police officers, not necessarily his his drug dealing friends.
Mhm.
So I don't know if there's something there, but I know I feel and I've read and I've heard that Diddy was involved in law enforcement as well, and not
What do you
just because
mean
50 Cent
involved
said
in
he's a
law
Fed.
enforcement?
Yeah, just like he's working
That's
with
a
the
vague statement. What does that mean?
well. 50 says he's a Fed, and people say he's a Fed. But
Oh,
what
okay.
that means,
Okay,
yeah,
I
yeah,
got you. I got you. Okay,
yeah.
I understand.
So it would be that's an interesting angle. The other thing too, might be completely random, but it's interesting that Bianca's birthday is J6 to me for some reason. That stood out to me. And and that Kim and Kanye, the wedding date was what did it say? December 31st, 2012. The year that everything ended in the world,
That's when he married who?
At Kim.
Oh, huh, interesting.
Yeah, that's just
Yeah,
things
a lot of
pop out
interesting
at me.
side notes there.
I know, right? You know me. Gotta go
Trivia
left.
factory. If I ever get caught out on Jeopardy, I'm gonna be straight. I'm just like, thank you, Leah.
No,
Phone a friend. I'll be like,
I'm not good
Leah,
under that kind of pressure. My mom is, though.
on what day did Kanye get
I know,
married?
right? Day six is
So
also the date of. Yeah, who knows? I might do
so
that.
yeah, so that's going on. So there's another report on it.
I knew. Okay, here's the thing too. I wanted to say is that I knew he was gonna sing. I mean, he's such a bitch, and I'll say it. He's a bitch that he's gonna bring anybody down that he can, unless it's somebody that can't be brought down that he's just afraid of, which is always an option.
I don't know if he's look.
Yes, I was gonna.
I've
I'm
seen
glad.
some
Okay,
some bitch ass behavior is what I've seen. That's what I'll
right,
say.
and his tagline was "No bitch assness," but
Yeah.
I'm so glad you're playing this because I heard that too in the last video, and I was like, "What do you mean another rapper's freak off?"
So yeah, here's another person's take on it.
So it looks like Diddy wasn't the only famous rapper that was hosting these freak offs. His ex-girlfriend just spent 6 long days testifying, dropping some heavy details, and another famous rapper just got brought into the story. So this was Diddy's last girlfriend before he got arrested. She's a social media influencer, but she's testifying anonymously under the name Jane. The past 6 days, she was talking about freak offs and she was talking about getting beat. And she just wrapped up the last day on the stand, but she brought in a new twist that involved a very famous rapper. Jane testified that in January 2024, she was invited to a wild Las Vegas birthday party for this mystery rapper's girlfriend. She flew there on the rapper's private jet, so he has a private jet, along with a big group of people. The night started off with everyone attending a play, then moved to a fancy dinner, followed by a strip club, and finally an after party inside a hotel suite, and that's where things got wild. At the after party, Jane says that she witnessed one of the male escorts that she and Diddy used for their freak offs. It was a man named Antoine, and he was getting intimate with another woman while the rapper, his girlfriend, and a small group of others just stood watching. She also testified that the rapper, who was close to Diddy both personally and professionally, pulled her aside during the night and said, "I've always had a crush on you," talking to Jane. In court, Jane confirmed that this rapper is an icon in the music industry. And after Diddy found out she attended this party, Jane says he became more furious and accused her of going to another man's freak off, which triggered more fights between them. She also revealed that this rapper and his girlfriend were into a similar sexual lifestyle as Diddy, and even asked if she could connect them with more escorts like the one that she and Diddy used. During the trial, Diddy's lawyers tried to force Jane to say the name in court, but the judge ruled against it, saying exposing his identity would only be used to harass the witness. So for now, the name is sealed.
So yeah, talk is that maybe it's yay.
Yeah, I don't doubt that.
Maybe it's yay.
Yeah, I don't doubt it at all. There's a lot of, he's very porn addicted according to him, and his wife is into it all, and I wouldn't doubt that at all.
Ahem. Can Jaguar Wright please come to the front of the class, please?
Miss Wright, you used to say that you would walk girls out of the freak-offs. Is that not true? You said in detail, with great passion, that you were walking them out of the freak-offs. As far as we know, freak-offs consisted of 3 people. Diddy, Cassie, who never walked out of shit, and male sex workers. Who did you walk out of the freak-offs? Because you said you were saving women. Cassie, as far as we know, was the only woman there, and you didn't save her. So who did you save? I think now that we have a clear vision of what the freak-offs were, Cassie, a sex worker, and Diddy masturbated to the we know now Jaguar Wright was not there. She was not saving anyone. She was not walking anyone out of the freak-offs. Are you fucking serious? We still have people who are like, well, Jaguar was right about Diddy. She said she was at the freak-offs saving people. That is obviously now not true. As far as we know now, the freak-offs were not Hollywood-filled, eyes wide shut parties with tons of people that someone like Jaguar Wright could somehow sneak into and pull people out of. They were tiny things in hotel rooms. Stop telling me, well, Jaguar was right about Puff. She was not.
He's being crazy. He's been crazy. We all know his white parties were celebrity-filled craziness, and just because what's being talked about in court right now are the private messages and stuff between Diddy and Cassie, that does not mean that he didn't have freak offs. There's
Yeah,
so
and
many
that does
stories.
not mean that this accounts for all the freak offs everywhere that ever happened or nothing like that. Yeah, this is just this particular case.
Exactly, and that's what I'm saying is the stories. I mean, even before he got arrested, like there's boys on TikTok that, young white boys that were in Miami, just like walked in on Diddy doing very Diddy shit, and there was hella people there, and I just don't think that he knows. This gentleman has wide vision. He has very narrow vision. So,
Hooray.
Oh, and I remembered what I was going to say is that it's strange to me that the woman Jane on the stand was getting beat and forced into these freak offs and all that stuff. But in 2024, she hopped on a plane to go to another one. Like, it just is like, I just personally wouldn't go to any other freak offs.
I don't know. I mean, like, honestly, from what I've heard of these freak offs so far, they don't even seem wild.
Well, yeah, the ones that
these are the tamest freak offs I've ever heard of, except for the conspiracy people that talk about the freak offs.
Right.
But all the people that were actually there, from what I can glean, they sound fairly tame. Stuff that I've done.
If you were there, wouldn't you tell a tame story? I wouldn't want to tell the whole.
I imagine, but the problem is like there's no corroboration. There's no.
I think there will be.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. It really depends on who's getting paid off to.
Again, the Diddy trial is likely a cover-up. The way that they're doing this, I mean, he had Epstein tapes too. Where are the Diddy tapes?
Yeah, right. He had hella tapes, according to everyone. He was recording everything.
Yeah. So the whole thing is really, it's like kind of keep your eye on this so you don't look at that. Which is not to say that these conspiracy theorists are wrong about what they're reporting about some of these things.
But we
It's
may
just
not
to
get
say,
justice.
huh?
We may not get justice if they
Right.
actually,
The
yeah.
way the way that the way that things are playing out,
Mhm.
nobody's hearing about
There's
anything
nothing illegal,
crazy.
really. It's just this gross
Well, there's a lot
guy's
of
sexual
illegal stuff,
habits,
but there's
and that's all.
nothing. There's nothing.
Yeah.
There's lots of illegal stuff.
And yeah, we haven't, well, and also, I guess he was having people be mules for drugs and whatnot, which
Yeah,
if that,
making people buy his drugs. Yeah, all kind of
the
stuff.
DA would have to pick that stuff up. But we'll see. I don't really have a dog in the
Yeah.
fight, but I would like to
I
know,
think he's probably going to go down, but I think that that's again part of the distraction from
you know what,
keeping. Yeah, because that's the story.
what Sloan Bella says.
What?
She says that he's gonna take himself out as this progresses and more stuff comes out. He's not gonna be able to handle the isolation and the downfall of his legacy, so to speak.
Hmm.
We'll see.
We'll see. We will see.
Epstein killed himself. I'm just
Yeah.
kidding.
Just ask Cash Patel and Dan Bongino.
Yeah, I mean, come on, leader of the
They said it. It
FBI.
must be true.
I think Cash Patel must be cloned or something, because he changed so much. He was playing like before he got, but we didn't elect him, right? Before he got
What are you talking
nominated,
about?
or with
Playing?
Cash Patel.
Was playing, you said?
I was gonna say he was playing certain videos that I was just like, oh, this man's gonna be the truth. Like he is gonna,
Oh,
you know,
yeah. Well, some say that you get into these offices. No, he was appointed, he wasn't elected, but you
appointed.
get into
Thank
these
you.
offices and you get in and you're like, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, and then somebody slides an envelope right over to you and you open it up and it's a picture of your
Come
wife and
on, you
your
got to be
family.
stronger than that, y'all. That's crazy. Like I just
Stronger
can't
than
believe that
what?
to push the envelope away and say, no, I'm here to do a job. Somebody
Yeah.
has to. Like they can't be
Okay.
holding stuff all the
Yeah.
time.
I'd love to see the guy that does that. Yeah, I don't think
Me too. That's what I'm saying. Me too.
nobody would do that
Why though? I would.
because you would not
You don't
jeopardize
tell me. You don't know.
the things that you love, the people that you love most in the world. You would not just put them up
I would
like,
put them underground first and then go do my job. I like to think.
okay, yeah.
Okay, so
I mean, I like to think too, but
right. Like
yeah.
there's people that have sacrificed themselves. I don't know about their
You
families.
know the conspiracy about Bernie Sanders, right?
You told us
Yeah,
about
how
the
he was
video.
indoctrinated into this and forced to rape somebody. That's the conspiracy on him.
There's a couple stories like that, mostly in the
So
UK
what do you
though.
do? Like, what do you do if you're in that situation? Stop playing.
What the
But I'm not
hell
saying
is wrong
anybody's in
with
that situation. I'm saying that's the story. That's one of the
right? But like
narratives that
I'm
go
saying,
on.
he was playing like Dick Gregory videos and stuff on Twitter, and I was like, he's for really playing like he was playing like
Well, then a lot of this is impatience. If he's really for real, like let him cook. We'll see what
yeah,
happens.
he's losing some audience members.
Like, right, because we're impatient. This, especially the way that it works in
Well,
this
he did
country.
say that on day one. Remember, they did say day one the Epstein files would be released and all that stuff. It's
Yeah.
like hella past day one, I gotta say.
Yeah, yeah, indeed, indeed. Anyway, all right.
All righty
You got anything
then.
else for me?
I was gonna play an update on Carmelo Anthony if we're while we're doing updates, if you want. It's about as climactic as the Diddy tapes being released, but they did release a tape on
You have
the
it?
yeah, I do. Well, I do. I have it, the news breakdown of it because they will only release it to the news, not your news,
Okay.
the other news people.
To the death of a student back in April, but only under very strict conditions. So through open records, they will allow whoever requests it to view that video, but no recording whatsoever is allowed. On that note, we sent our I-Team producer Kelsey Mittauer to watch that video. She joins us now in studio to walk us through what you saw. We're going to go in order here in just a second, Kelsey, but in general terms, what did the video depict? What did you see?
It shows everything from the moments leading up to the stabbing, to the medical response, to then the beginning of the police investigation.
Okay, and it lasted several minutes is what they showed you.
It did, about 30 minutes.
Okay, so let's start in the beginning now and talk a little bit about what you saw at the front end of that video, because you got to see the attack, the actual stabbing took place.
So it starts, I started watching about 9:53. The camera shows half of the field. So it's about from the 50-yard line on, and the tent where it happened was kind of right in front of the 50-yard line, but the camera is down here.
Okay.
It's positioned across the field. So everybody in the video, you can tell there are kids or adults, but no one's identifiable.
So a long shot is what
a long shot, yeah.
So a couple minutes in, and you actually see the altercation take place.
Yes, everything leading up to it, everyone's milling about. It seems very normal, and then right at 9:55, that's when like there's this explosive movement or action between two people under the tent, and that's when the employees in the room told me that's when the stabbing happened at 9:55.
Right, and you were talking about people kind of start to scatter at that moment. Obviously, something went wrong. And so what happens next? Because now, a little bit later on, that's when the ambulance shows up.
Right. So when the ambulance arrives, it actually comes through near the end zone at the gate, and then it comes up to the 50-yard line directly in front of the tent. You can see Austin Metcalf is right here. But then when they pull up close to the tent, they realize that they can't get the stretcher to him because of the barrier of the bleachers. So at that point, then the paramedics have to get out, and then they have to walk all the way back to the end zone. This is actually, yeah, on the next slide. They have to go all the way back to the end zone and then come all the way back.
I just want to say, watching them schlep through this like it's an actual story is killing me. Like it's like she's like, and then we watch the ambulance drive from one end of the end zone to the other. Like, why did dude stab him? Like, what happened? They don't have any of that on the tape. So,
oh, was that the end of it?
No, I mean it goes on, but she just talks about how the ambulance drives, and I mean we can keep watching it if you really want to. Ridiculous they sound.
That takes another couple of minutes. So at this point, they've arrived and they are actively working on Metcalf at that point.
And we want to reiterate, we're using some imagery here to sort of denote exactly what was happening here, these little icons that were using the ambulance, because again, the video was not able to be released. You're watching all of this happen, Kelsey, and you're watching the time sort of elapse. What are you thinking about when you see this, especially when you see sort of the issues in getting Metcalf out of there?
I mean, you know, I understand why it happened the way it happened. They were still working on him, actually. The thing that really struck me is they're working on him, and that's when you see the rain's coming down heavier, and then they actually pull out the blue tarp.
The blue tarp that we saw.
Right, and then I noticed the crime scene tape is already up. I was so focused on here, I didn't even see that, but they're building the crime scene actively around him as they're continuing to work on him in the bleachers.
So that was happening while he was still there?
Yes, he's in the bleachers.
And in closing here, because we know that several minutes had elapsed, and people are sort of scurrying in different areas, what do we know about the suspect in the stabbing, Karmelo Anthony, and his whereabouts?
So I asked the women in the room, the employees, I said, of everybody on this screen, is Karmelo Anthony in here? And they said, you know, we couldn't tell you, we don't know. And honestly, it was so hard. Once it happened, you know, there's people going this way, that way, this way, and this way. So it was just hard to know what direction he headed.
All right, Kelsey, thank you very much for describing that for us. We appreciate it. We should let you know that the case will be presented to a grand jury, which will then decide whether to indict 17-year-old Karmelo Anthony on a charge of first-degree murder.
I mean, don't you know
the video's not going to tell us much of anything.
Exactly. Not that video.
Unless they're a cell phone video.
That's what I'm thinking, but that's not what they released. So.
Yeah. Well, you know, I mean, apparently, yeah, we don't know anymore. But, you know, I mean, I know enough to know, honestly, that, you know, old boy needs to go to jail. So that's what I know.
We've discussed this in detail. I understand your position.
I know you understand my position. That's
and
why
you
I'm saying
understand what I'm saying, too. I have that on tape, so don't.
Yes, there's socioeconomic disadvantages to be.
You're not at all what I'm saying, because I understand why something like this happens. And I'm not justifying it, but I understand why it happens and have some empathy towards a 17-year-old who made a mistake.
Yeah, he did. He made a hell of a mistake. That's for
Hell
damn
of a
sure.
mistake. That happens, you know.
All right.
All right.